Mr. Sabiri is here to speak to us today about leprosy, this terrible disease. What category of immune disease does this imbalance fall under?
Leprosy is classified as an autoimmunity, which is when one uses
So, Mr. Sabiri, what category of immune disease does this imbalance fall under?
leprosy is classified as an autoimmunity, which is when one immune system cannot distinguish healthy tissue and antigens.
So, when was this disease identified? Do you know?
Yeah, leprosy was identified by G.H. Armour Hansen in Norway around 1873, which is why sometimes it's also referred to as Hansen's disease.
Interesting. So, what is the trigger, cause, or vector of this tissue?
Leprosy's vector or cause is either insects carrying the bacteria, Mycobacterium leprae, from contact with an infected individual through the nose or mouth droplets.
So, what are the symptoms presented by this imbalance when you catch leprosy?
Some symptoms of leprosy are loss of feeling in the arms and legs and muscle weakness.
Great. So, are there any populations of people who seem to be more affected by this? Where in the world, do you know?
Well, leprosy can be found more commonly in India, Indonesia, Myanmar, Brazil, and Nigeria, countries that are not as wealthy.
So, what cells of this tissue are affected? Do you know?
All tissues are affected, but pretty much primarily superficial tissues, which consist of the skin and peripheral nerves.
In what way are body cells or tissues affected by leprosy?
Uh, One, body cells and tissues are affected by leprosy because leprosy integrates with the tissue cells, causing a widespread of bacteria.
What treatments are available for leprosy?
One extremely effective treatment is called MDT, multi-drug therapy.
So, what further research is underway to find out anything new about this imbalance?
Not much research is being done right now. To the fact that it is easily curable and most everything that there is to know has already been discovered, there's not much research going on right now.
So, what is leprosy, and how would someone know if they're infected?
Well, leprosy has traditionally been classified in two major types, tuberculoid and lepromatous. Patients with tuberculoid leprosy have limited disease and relatively few bacteria in the skin and nerves, while lepromatous patients have widespread disease and large numbers of bacteria. Tuberculoid leprosy is characterized by a few flat or slightly raised skin lesions of various sizes that are typically pale or slightly red, dry, hairless, and numb to touch, and aesthetic. Lepromatous leprosy is the other end of the spectrum, with a much more generalized disease, diffuse involvement of the skin, thickening of many peripheral nerves, and at times involvement of other organs, such as eyes, nose, testicles, and bone. There are also intermediate subtypes between these two extremes that are commonly known as borderline leprosy. The intermediate subtypes are borderline tuberculoid, mid-borderline, and borderline lepromatous leprosy. Borderline leprosy and the subtypes are characterized by more extensive disease than polar tuberculoid, with more numerous skin cells and more nerve involvement, but not as widespread disease as in lepromatous leprosy. Indeterminate leprosy refers to a very early form of leprosy that consists of a single skin lesion with slightly diminished sensation to touch. It will usually progress to one of the major types of leprosy.
Earliest found records of leprosy are?
Yeah, the term leprosy occurs 68 times in the Bible, which was the first account of leprosy ever written, and 55 times in the Old Testament, and 13 times in the New Testament. In the Old Testament, the instances of leprosy most likely meant a variety of infectious skin diseases, and even mold and mildew on clothes and walls. The precise meaning of leprosy in both the Old Testament and New Testament is still in dispute, but it probably includes the modern Hansen's disease, especially in the New Testament, and infectious skin diseases.